Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and this morning we're going to tell you everything you need to know about the WWE creative shake-up. Paul Heyman is out, Bruce Prichard is the new creative overlord, and we're going to tell you the real reason behind Paul Heyman's removal as well. And on top of that, I'm going to tell you what Vince McMahon really thinks of the Randy Orton versus Tommaso Ciampa Twitter beef.
Plus, the original plans for Mike Tyson in AEW. This is the news.
Everything else kind of feels a bit small fry compared to this Paul Heyman story, doesn't it? It's like, it feels a bit weird doing all this on the same video, but here we are. Let's talk Paul Heyman. This happened overnight. Statement released by WWE on their official website. They tweeted it out as well. This is it in verbatim. In an effort to streamline our creative writing process for television, we have consolidated both teams from Raw and SmackDown into one group led by Bruce Prichard. Paul Heyman will concentrate on his role as an in-ring performer. So, there you go. Paul Heyman is no longer the executive director of Raw. It was a position he had sat in since June 2019 when him and Eric Bischoff were brought in. Bischoff was gone by October. Prichard came in and replaced him. Lots of confusing stuff surrounding the Bischoff situation, but with regards to Heyman, I think it was quite clear within the first few months of him on Raw that, while the framework of the programme hadn't necessarily been completely shaken up and pulled apart and put back together in his own image, because Vince McMahon is still the guy at the top of the pile. There were fingerprints here and there were smatterings of his flourishes, there was people getting pushed and promoted who maybe wouldn't have been getting pushed and promoted previously, there was announcers swearing every now and then, there was people calling each other other nasty words and stuff. Programming, there you go, that's a word. There was all kinds of little bits and pieces here, but he's out now, he's gone, no more Heyman. Bruce Prichard has traditionally always been a closer ally of Vince McMahon. Has a reputation as being a bit of a goddamn stooge, so it's not a huge surprise that he's been the one to take the mantle for both shows rather than Heyman taking both of them over. Adam Wilborn, what do you think of these changes, man? It's a big story to wake up to.
It's huge. I literally thought, end of the week, Backlash on Sunday, nice quiet Friday, is it? Oh, no. God, you've seen the reaction to this online already from fans. I think they are very concerned. I think, like you said, it wasn't like there was wholesale changes on Monday Night Raw. They didn't really shake things up. And, the bits that we did see Paul Heyman's fingerprints all over, I think you have to say were an improvement on Monday Night Raw. But, yeah, it's just depressing. I think it was you and Sidgwick, and I've seen so many other people pointing out online. How many times, in the last few years, have WWE just come out and gone, look, all right, the product is crap, but we're going to change this and it's all going to get better. And like you say, I feel like there's one central pillar here that hasn't changed throughout that might be the thing that links all those things together. And I don't want to make this all about me, but, needs must. But you've got Paul Heyman losing this role, which I think all fans are going to be rather disappointed about, with a bit of a yes man, I think it's fair to say, in Bruce Prichard taking over the whole role. You've got the greatest wrestling match ever this weekend, and you've got myself and Adam Nicholas doing the live stream for Backlash. This is the perfect storm to bring back a character of mine that I thought we'd seen the last of. That is broken, Adam Wilborn. Are we going to see this Sunday night into Monday morning? I won't have had enough sleep, and if the Iconics don't win the tag titles, that could be the final straw, Andy Murray. As I said before, with this whole situation with WWE, with the changes that they make, and then, right, we've got this guy, but this guy's fired now, don't worry, now it's going to be better. Bloody Baron Corbin, don't worry, now we've replaced him, he's going to be far improved. No, it's not. As I have said before with things like this with WWE, you are rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. You need wholesale changes, starting with the old git that is in charge of this all.
Yeah, you've said it all, man. You can't change a system that doesn't want to change. It's as simple as that. Vince was always the guy with the final say on everything, even when Bischoff and Heyman came in and Prichard as well. So, yeah, moving around the deck chairs on the Titanic is the perfect way of putting it. It's understandable to kind of, be a bit annoyed when someone you associate with great creative ideas and stuff has moved on from the company. But at the end of the day, I don't know if the changes we're going to see on television are going to be too different. I don't know if the Raw we've watched for the past 12 months is going to be that different from the one we're watching in a month. We'll see how it plays out.
The only thing we can hope is that when crowds are allowed back and we get back to some sort of normality, they open their eyes and realise that they need changes because they are shedding viewers left, right and centre. I realise the viewership is down because of the ongoing global bastard and people watching news or NASCAR or whatever, but you need something to get those fans to come back, and if you can get lapsed fans back, then maybe we see an improvement. But for now, I'm not holding out much hope. Just to build on top of that story there, Andy, we had WrestleVotes tweeting out overnight the sort of real reason behind it. We're not going to go into too much detail here because Simon Miller's going to do a big old why about it later on, so keep tuned to WhatCulture's YouTube channel for that. But WrestleVotes tweeted, regarding the creative change, source indicates that Raw has been a mess lately. At times recently, the show has changed up to the point of air. While the blame isn't solely on Heyman, he is the one taking the fall here. Quote, "It couldn't continue like this," was an exact quote they got. This was sort of supported by a report by PW Insider about Vince McMahon's unhappiness with how things are going on Monday Night Raw. Having said all that, like I said before, the buck kind of stops with Vince McMahon, and I can't help but feel that once again, yeah, it's just a fall guy to say like, oh, well, this is the reason, so now we've got rid of him, it'll all get better, whereas everything still has to go through the conduit of that old git's mind, to think of a better word.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's, you know, Simon, the bald father himself, is going to break this down on the why later on, but it's the same situation every time. It's like there's one guy who everything runs through in the end, and it doesn't matter if you've got the most brilliant creative minds of all time. If the fella at the top doesn't like it, sorry, sucker, it's not happening. So again, like, it doesn't, you know, these reports don't paint like the most harmonious picture of how things were working, but I can't imagine that they're, you know, just putting Bruce Prichard in the seat is going to bring on swooping creative changes either. It's just another day in the life of WWE, man. We get stories like this like once every month or so, and the wheel keeps turning and the worm keeps burning and the dog keeps yearning. Ran out of things to say. Let's move on.
Well, just finally here. I know we get accused of sort of ragging on WWE often, but it's just like the evidence piles up time and time and time again. You get reports like this of like, oh, don't worry, everything's going to change now. And then you hear reports from Jon Moxley, from Brody Lee, from the artist formerly known as The Revival. And it's just, there's one central theme here, and that's that it's such good Here's, you know, Jon Moxley clearly has flourished in AEW, and he's been given injections and gas masks because people are smelly. And then Brody Lee, I mean, just look at this track record in WWE of like, oh, we can't, what can he not do this accent? Well, maybe do something else with him. Then the revolt on Jim Cornette's podcast. If you haven't listened to that, make sure that's essential listening this weekend, because it's also simultaneously very frustrating because you hear them talking about, you know, the fact that they were willing to do oozy hot bollocks in exchange for a bit of creative freedom and a bit of what they like and a bit of what they think other fans may like. And in the end, it was just like, if Vince don't like it, it's not happening. So, what's the point?
Yeah, it's just everything paints like this not ideal picture. It sounds like a crazy, insane mental place to work, and I have all the respect in the world for the people who try really hard to find success, and lots of people do find success within that system, but it fails a lot of people, and you know, the viewership are one of them, unfortunately, a lot of the times. It's
less, you don't have to be mad to work here, but it helps. It's more, you don't have to be mad to work here, but you will be when you leave.
It's on the job description. What's not on the job description is Twitter beefs, but people do it anyway. Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa this week, going back and forth. Randy Orton talking about leg slaps on NXT TakeOver. Tommaso Ciampa saying, hey, buddy, your matches make my daughter go to sleep. And then Randy Orton called him the self-appointed locker room leader of a wrestling school. His wife got involved for some reason. It was fun, it was banter, it was a good crack, it was a good laugh, but one guy who apparently didn't enjoy it very much was Vince McMahon. Brian Alvarez, speaking about this on Wrestling Observer Live, said that indications from within the company to him are that Vince just, wasn't very happy about this whole thing. Dave, his colleague, Dave Meltzer, has previously reported that there's no plan to book a match between the two. It's not some kind of grand elaborate work from the company. It's just these guys screwing around a little bit on social media. So I can see Vince McMahon, I can't imagine for the life of me that Vince uses his own Twitter, but I can imagine someone told him and he was like, what are these guys doing, pal? Why are you saying a leg slap? What's that? But at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun with this. I would like to see kind of Vince log into his Twitter and do a snarky quote tweet shooting on Tommaso Ciampa for some reason. I think that'd be good fun, but sounds like we're not getting that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think fans delve too much into this. Like you say, it's just a bit of fun between wrestlers who are clearly just having a bit of a pop with each other. It's effectively the modern day version of sort of locker room banter, isn't it, basically? Although I sense, like you say, if Vince ever got control of his Twitter account to tweet, he'd do that thing where, do you remember a while back, Wayne Rooney tweeted himself threatening himself?
Yeah.
It's going to be like that. Hey, shut up, you know what you're saying. Oh, who do you think you are? Oh, he's just going to argue with himself on Twitter for about 20 minutes and then just kind of call it a day. But hopefully we'll get a Vince McMahon Covfefe hashtag out of it somehow.
Maybe he'll do the Ed Balls, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Right, let's move on to the final story of today, all about Mike Tyson and the original plans for him in AEW. Chris Jericho's talking about it on his Brilliant Talk is Jericho podcast, which is genuinely one of the best podcasts out there after ours. What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Apparently the original plans for the baddest man on the planet was going to have him knock someone out on AEW television. No real surprises when you find out who that is. Of course, it's not Le Champion. It is, in fact, Le Sex God, Sammy Guevara, and I love Sammy Guevara, so I know he would have made this work. Obviously, that didn't happen. They just had the pull-apart argument, brawl, semi-brawl sort of thing with UFC fighters and mine and Andy's favourite actor, Mickey Gooch. And speculation as to where they're going from here. I saw him talking in an interview just the other day about potentially leading to an actual wrestling match between Jericho and Tyson. But I think this is the best way. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he does knock out Sammy Guevara down the road. But I think to start the feud, you don't want to start it off, with don't blow your load on the first night. You can peak too soon, like your dad.
I agree. I think a lot of people were disappointed a little bit when he didn't knock someone out, but for me, I'd rather Sammy doesn't get kind of his lights put out just yet. He'd do such a good job of selling it and all this stuff, but I don't know. I've grown a little bit kind of wary of the rub that the Tyson thing brings these days. It certainly worked in 1990, whatever it was, 98, 7, 98, 99, I've completely lost track of time. When he was like one of the biggest sports stars on the planet, but he's kind of not anymore. Either way, I'm sure Sammy would sell it like a pro. I'd have complete faith in him doing that. Maybe Tyson can knock out Mickey Gooch instead for some reason. Mickey Gooch turns heel, gets put on his taint. There we go, that'll do.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with this, but I doubt this is the last you've seen of Mike Tyson and AEW. I think that's fair to say. Right, Let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Rippin Marks, who just must be a relative of the other one that we have over on Kayfabe News. Go and check that out right now, of course. Says, so on AEW Dynamite during the opening post-match segment, I noticed a little moment between Hangman Page and FTR. Could you see Hangman siding with FTR to create another faction in AEW? I think that would be absolutely badass.
Oh yeah, Page would be a really good fit with those dudes, particularly following the reinvention and stuff, and it kind of makes sense because Page is beefing internally with the Young Bucks. FTR have obviously been beefing from afar with the Young Bucks for about 20 years now, and it's finally coming to fruition on AEW television. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I also believe that there might be legs to this theory going around of an FTR, Sean Spears, Tully Blanchard, MJF version of the Horsemen, especially now that Sean Spears has got Barry Windham's black glove. Maybe it's Ted DiBiase's black glove. It's someone's black glove and he's got it, and it might be a Four Horsemen illusion, but I like that idea as well. I think that's a great fit.
Yeah, I think there's real excitement now if you enjoy tag team wrestling in AEW to see Revolt, obviously Young Bucks, but you got to include Kenny Omega and Hangman Page as the tag team champions into that mix, and the inevitable implosion of that tag team as well coming. I could see something like that happening, but exciting times ahead in tag team wrestling over there. Matthew Nash says, after watching Colt Cabana slashing Sammy on Dynamite this week, who do you think has the best shot in WWE or AEW right now?
Oh, Walter, Michael Hamflet. It's just it sounds like the chop is designed not to just make a cool sounding noise, but cave a man's chest in. And you've seen the shots of people coming out of matches with Walter, and they've just got like this kind of ground beef where their pecs used to be and stuff. It's gross. It sounds horrible live as well. Like for me, it's a conversation of one, and it's Walter.
Yeah, Matthew points out Drew. Drew has a very good shot in there as well. But yeah, I don't think you can look past Walter, it just sounds like a gunshot. I mean, we were lucky enough to obviously have him in Defiant Wrestling for a while, and you could hear it at the back of the arena every single time. And I even saw Martin Kirby putting bubble wrap around his chest to try and protect him, and it did nothing. The goggles, they do nothing. That's effectively what happens. Also, I want to give a shout out to Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze. I'm not sure which one it is or whether it's just a combination. Have you seen the photo of Chris Van Vliet's chest after they get finished with him?
Chris Van Vliet is a brave, brave man. Yes, I have seen that.
Braver than I am. Final question today comes from Sean Ackling. Great question, this Sean. Who says, after AEW this week, I didn't realise how badly I needed Tony Hawk to manage Darby Allin. Oh, skateboard friends! What celebrity from any walk of entertainment, acting, music, sports, Twitch, etc., would you want to manage any current wrestler from any promotion? Now, Andy, we kind of workshop this one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We had a little discussion because there's all kinds of wacky celebrities that you could throw into these situations. We thought about Nicolas Cage. I thought about Riff Raff. Is Riff Raff still even a thing? I don't know, but he'd be funny as hell in wrestling. Between us, the first one we've come up with is the mayor of Flavortown himself, Guy Fieri. And who are you going to team Guy Fieri with his flame shirt and his frosted tips and his actually a very generous man who helps loads of charity? Guy Fieri's a great dude. But anyway, who are you going to team him with? Mojo Rawley. Perfect blend of personalities. Get Mojo away from the blue face makeup and the Gronk and the broken mirror and stuff. Have him going down to Flavortown and diners and drive things and chicken wings. What have you got?
Well, this is, again, one that we worked on together. We were talking, obviously, about one of the guys everyone's talking about at the moment, and that is Dexter Lumis. And we were just thinking, who can we put with Dexter Lumis? Like you say, we mentioned someone like Nicolas Cage, but we settled on Dexter Lumis being managed by Gary Busey.
It's ridiculous.
Honestly, I cannot wait to read the comments. Let us know celebrities managing current wrestlers. And honestly, if that's the bar, have at it, comment section.
Yeah, it speaks volumes that the two celebrities of all the people we've come up with on planet Earth are Gary Busey and Guy Fieri. But hey man, listen, if you don't like Guy Fieri, I don't like you. That guy is a seriously good dude, and he's ridiculous in the best possible way as well.
Should do an honourable bloody mention to Hugh bloody Jackman managing the Iconics, of course, but it's a given. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and this has been kind of building up all week, and I wanted to give a bit of a nod to it ahead of Backlash. Shout out to Edge, at Edge Radar on Twitter, who's done a series of these tweets. I sense presumably after he'd filmed the greatest wrestling match ever with Randy Orton for this weekend. He's just done a series of tweets about how he's just had the best coffee ever, or sleep ever, or whatever. And yesterday tweeted, "I just did the greatest poison runner off of a pickup truck to an armadillo ever." He's not taking this seriously, Andy.
He's having fun with this, isn't he? He's having a lot of fun with this. I hope after all this that the match isn't just a 30-minute chin lock, because it might bloody well be at this stage. But, you know, the Edge's activity on the old socials. Edge and Randy both have kept us very entertained on Twitter over the past week or so. So bless those guys.
I just sense that Edge, this whole tweets and reactions to it, has kind of had this greatest wrestling match ever thing forced upon him, and he's making the best of a very tough situation. So, yeah, support him all we can. I mean, Tommaso Ciampa has that draft tweet already written for this Sunday, no doubt. And make sure you join myself and Adam Nicholas, when have our streams ever gone badly, for Backlash on Sunday night. Ooh, good luck, everybody. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and Michael Sidgwick going to preview SmackDown a little bit later on. And, of course, it's Friday. That means Wrestle Culture, complete with a hashtag Bloody Good quiz as well. Plus, let us know your thoughts, your random celebrity wrestler combinations, and any Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. Today, the H stands for Hey Man, do you know what's open now in Gateshead? McDonald's. Today, I am going to drown under mediocre food and salt and fat, and it's going to be the best day of my life.
Yeah, get 20 nugs in for me, mate. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Don't forget to join us on Sunday for the Backlash live stream. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Beautiful.